One time, my mom accidentally ran over my dog's paw with the car and he was practically a newborn and I was about 9 years old. So then my dog, started crying in a really upsetting way and the only thing I could think to say at that moment was, "You killed him, you killed him." And when we realized the car hadn't even touched Mickey and he was just making a fuss. Since that moment, I call him Neymar the canine. One time when I was 5 years old, I ate almost a whole box of crayons by myself because it was lunchtime and the teacher said, "Kids, it's time to eat, take out your food." But I had been wanting those crayons the whole time because they looked really tasty. So then I started eating them without the teacher noticing. But after a while, she saw me and took them away. In the end, when I took out my tamarind candies, they were tutti frutti colored.
No way, that's disgusting!
When I was 13, my mom told me to shower because I already smelled like a skunk. So I went to the bathroom and started showering. But then, when I put my hand up to the shower head, it looked like I had water powers coming out of my fingers. Without thinking, I left the bathroom, went to my mom and said, "Look mom, I have powers." I tried to show her, but it didn't work and I just looked foolish. One time, my little brother got traumatized with the multiplication table of 3,835 because he had to learn it, and the kid kept repeating it over and over like up to 7 million times. When he went to sleep, and at 4 in the morning, my dad woke him to go to the bathroom since he used to pee himself saying, "Son, get up to go to the bathroom." My brother, half asleep, says 26,845. He was traumatized and honestly never even learned it.
I looked like a fool last night.
One time when I was going to school, we all had an assignment to do on a poster board, but I forgot. When I get to school, everyone has poster boards. So I ask, "Is it poster board day?" They say, "Dude, where's yours?" I reply, "What for?" And they tell me, "Well, for the Spanish project." At that moment, it hit me and I got really nervous, but it was already too late. The good thing is I got a 6.
What an idiot! Give him a 0!
One time, my dog came into my house and peed on my bed because I left the door open, and my room ended up smelling awful. So, to get revenge, I thought about going to his bed and peeing on it, just like he did to mine, but when I went, I took out my little guy and my dog saw me, and he bit it. In the end, the good thing is that I did get my revenge, because I managed to pee on it before he bit me. One time, when I invited some friends over for a sleepover, my house and my room were turned upside down because those guys and I were totally crazy. And we started making a mess from the very first minute of the night until the very last second of the morning. And the next day, the housekeeper, Mrs. Lubia, arrived, saw the mess and said, "What happened here? Did 6 rhinoceroses come in or what?" And honestly, it really did look like that. Fortunately, the poor lady cleaned everything up, but after that, she never came back. One time, my grandma found me talking really close to the TV because some friends had invited me to an Xbox group, but I was really clueless. And I didn't know I needed headphones and a mic to talk. I thought that by getting close to the TV, they would hear me. And then my grandma comes into the room, sees me and says, "Son, TVs aren't for talking, they're for watching." And honestly, I felt so dumb. How could I explain this technology to my grandma when she couldn't even install WhatsApp? One time, my mom told me to go wash my teeth, but I was 10 years old, and I took it literally, so I grabbed some soap and bit into it. And I started chewing it so that in my mind, my teeth would be sparkling clean, but honestly, it tasted really awful. When my mom checked on me because I was taking so long, she saw me with foam in my mouth. She thought I had rabies, but then saw I was holding soap. She said, "What are you doing? Not like that. You're supposed to use a toothbrush and toothpaste."
I don't think this guy is very smart.
One time, I was at the supermarket looking for fish ears. Fish ears to make an ultra secret recipe. No one can know about it. But while I was waiting for them to give them to me, I saw the fish on the ice with their eyes facing up. And without anyone seeing me, I poked my finger into the fish's eye. And the worst part is that every time I go to the supermarket to get salmon leg or some seafood, I poke the fish's eye. I think it became a habit. Once, while I was playing Xbox, my dad nearly embarrassed me in front of my friends by coming in and saying, "You smell like butt, go shower, damn it, it's been 5 days." And honestly, I didn't even know how to mute myself. So all my friends heard and said, "Don't worry, we're with you, we haven't showered either." Actually, Santi hasn't showered for a whole week. And I said, "Damn, I think I can last 2 more days."
You filthy, dirty kids.
Once I had a friend they called the baby because the guy would almost always get into trouble, and every time he got home from school, he'd get in trouble with his mom. Until one day, all my classmates and I said, "Dude, we should call the cops so they take him away." So, one afternoon, they come to the school and say, "Is Ricardo, also known as the baby, here?" And my friend says, "Yeah, that's me." And the cop said, "Hey buddy, you know, it's for your own good." And they hauled him away. Once, when I was a kid, I almost did what Cancerbero did, because I was on vacation with my parents at a hotel in Cancun. And honestly, when I was little, I used to sleepwalk a lot. And one night, I got out of bed and was heading toward the window, and we were on the 7th floor, so my dad sees me and says, "Where are you going, son?" And I just kept walking toward the window, and when he realized I was sleepwalking, he ran really fast to grab me. And in the end, he had to put the bed next to the window so I wouldn't try to think I was Superman again. Once, when I was a kid, I set up a little candy stand, but nobody bought anything from me. So one day I told my dad, "Dad, I'm going to the bathroom. Watch over the business in case a customer comes." And my dad said, "Okay, son." I went to the bathroom, and when I returned, my dad said, "A little girl bought a lollipop and a bag of chips from you." I was so happy because it was my first sale. A few years later, my dad revealed that the little girl who bought something 4 years ago was actually him. I asked, "So does that mean I have 2 moms?" One time when I was a kid, my mom left me alone in the car because she got out to buy some head and tongue tacos, but I was really scared that someone would get in the car and take me away. So I would always hide in a space under the seats whenever I saw someone coming. And when my mom came back, she didn't see me in the car, and she got scared. But I would hide so well that even my own mom didn't know where I was. And my mom said, "Damn kid, he must have gotten out and gotten lost." And I said, "Mom, I'm here. Help me get out. I think I'm stuck." But the good thing is that in the end, I managed to get unstuck. Hi. One time, when I activated my first Telcel plan, I got home and thinking I had Wi-Fi on, I started downloading like 1,000 games and watching Giselle Montes videos in full 4K, but suddenly the signal started to go out. And I said, "Damn, total play failing again." Then I look at my phone and it said, "You have used up all the data from your plan." No way, my data didn't even last 5 minutes. And when I checked the bill that had to be paid, it was 3,800 pesos. My mom scolded me and made me sell tamales to be able to pay.
Pira su rico tamales oaxaqueños.
One time I almost went to heaven because one morning I started doing intense exercise in the heat and I had only had the construction workers breakfast. A 600 ml Coke and a concha bread, and I said, "That's it, I'm ready to go." So I started exercising, and after 6 minutes I started seeing everything blurry and I was pale. I felt like God whispered, "Come my son, your suffering will end when you're with me." Thankfully I'm still here, though I almost left because I was being foolish. One time, my uncle and I were left alone at my grandma's house because everyone else had gone out to get food. But when they left, we were about to play Pogs. And just 10 minutes later, the power went out in the whole neighborhood. So when we went outside to see what had happened, the nosy lady from the neighborhood already had the news. She told us, "We're screwed, neighbors. The power pole fell down. And because of some drunk guy who knocked it down with his car, we were left without power for more than a week."
A Fortnite enemy.
Mama, I'm a criminal. Mama, I'm a criminal.